And just like that, we're back with part two. Shalom, beloved brothers and sisters. Let us keep on going with part two. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, beloved, we are back with part two here, and we're done with the whole cap thing. And of course, we want to remind everyone that are new here, you do not have to subscribe to our channel, or like or share our video. In fact, we advertise against that. All we ask you is to go into prayers, and we ask you to go into meditation and see if the Spirit moves you to subscribe or to even like or share our videos, because this thing is heavy. We don't want anybody to following us or following the Most High God Almighty and find out like this thing is real hardcore. Or you find out this is not what you thought it would be. Let's keep on moving, beloved.
Two men now stand charged with more than 200 felony counts stemming from what prosecutors call an organized retail theft ring. Kwang Nam Lee and Chung Nam Lee are accused of running that ring that targeted Home Depot and Lowe's stores in Montgomery, Bucks, Philadelphia, Delaware, Luzerne, and Berks counties. Investigators say the brothers coordinated the purchase of merchandise online, then returned those products with new, higher-priced UPC codes, pocketing the difference. That scheme allegedly netted this pair more than $200,000.
Wow. That's it? Really? That's all? Well, they don't look like your typical
Bucks.
Put it right. They don't look like your typical dudes that they put their faces in the news all the time and make sure that if you saw those guys in your stores or if you see them anywhere, follow them. They are up to something and they are robbing someone, they are doing something, and they are criminals. They are selling drugs, they are doing that, they are doing this. But anyway, so and lately, there's been a lot of faces of those fellows in the news. But anyway, so let's keep on moving, man. There was like a picture right here at the end. Let me see. Davie, is it my Davie? It could be Davie, Florida, is it?
We turn now to a crime alert. Surveillance video
Davie,
capturing the moment a suspect struggles with police following his arrest. Police raided the suspect's trailer and say they found he was running an illegal puppy mill.
And officers also say that he was trafficking loads of drugs in Davie, and that's where we find Local 10Z and Margot live now with the latest on this investigation. Ian.
That man is facing more than 180 charges. He and his partner doing all of this inside of their trailer where they lived with their children.
Age 11, Sean Broadnax.
In a Broward courtroom on Thursday, Sean Broadnax stood in front of a judge facing more than 180 charges for everything from money laundering and drug trafficking to animal abuse.
You have 25 counts of cruelty causing death or pain or suffering to animals. That's counts 12 through 36. You have 25 counts of unlawful confinement, abandonment of animals.
On September 13th, just after noon, Davie Police, Broward Sheriff's deputies, and agents with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms raided Broadnax's Davie home after receiving tips that he was involved in significant illegal activity. Surveillance from a neighbor's house shows Broadnax struggling with an officer after he was taken into custody. Inside, we're told officers found the drugs they were looking for, a trafficking amount of fentanyl pills, and approximately a kilo of cocaine powder mixed with fentanyl. They also found about 25 French Bulldog Pit Bull mixes, many of which were in extreme distress. Court documents say, quote, aside from the issues of the respondents who are both residents of this trailer, keeping dogs in humanely small cages, the cages themselves were also unsanitary, filled with feces, smelled, and had no bedding on the floor of the cages. The video shows officers carrying most of the dogs out, the document saying none of them could walk on their own for more than a few feet, and that they didn't appear to be accustomed to life outside the confinement of their cages.
Davie, Florida.
So right now, Broadnax...
That's the thing. I used to work there when I used to pick up garbage. Seems peaceful, though. It's a trailer park.
Is still in jail, being held on more than $130,000 total on bond. He is going to be held there. This case really in the very early stages. But Broward Sheriff's Office, they have now filed a petition saying they are trying to take those dogs away from this family. Broadnax lost those dogs. They actually came and took all of them, but technically they are still the owners of those dogs. So BSO, the Broward County, trying to take ownership of those dogs and make sure they never own animals again. We're live tonight. I'm Ian Margol, Local 10 News.
Well, that's Florida for you. Davie, Florida. Beautiful place. Beautiful, beautiful. Fort Lauderdale. What's going on here in Fort Lauderdale? Phishing scam. What happened?
The fish are biting in Fort Lauderdale, you might say. The city tricked out of paying more than $1 million for a bill they thought was for real. And Local 10's Roy Ramos live now with reaction from the mayor today.
Oh,
Roy.
boy.
And when I spoke with the mayor, Calvin, he tells me that this scammer filled out all the necessary paperwork, even attached a blank check, all of which officials here at the city have seen before. But it's when accounts payable sent those funds, they quickly realized it was sent to the wrong person.
A copy of a blank check indicating it was from Moss Construction. So it'll all look very legitimate.
But the request for $1.2 million was anything but. City of Fort Lauderdale Mayor Dean Trentalis said it was all part of a phishing scam where someone posed as a representative of Moss Construction, the company now building the city's new police headquarters, in order to swindle Fort Lauderdale out of more than $1 million of taxpayer money.
It was all exactly the way we received requests before.
Fortunately, it didn't take long for City Manager Greg Chavarria to discover they'd just fallen victim to the crime, quickly sending this email to city officials informing them of what happened and that they were now working to get the money back. And Fort Lauderdale police had been notified.
Right now, we're hoping that we're going to be able to claw it back since it was a wire transfer.
But how does the city prevent a scam like this from happening again? I went to cybersecurity expert with ARC Solver's Reginald Andre, who stressed the importance of consistent cybersecurity training.
You want to make that a culture. You want to make it where every quarter someone's coming in and providing training and letting them know of what the latest threats are.
As the city now tries to recover those funds, the mayor had this message to taxpayers concerned with just how safely the city's money is being handled.
Oh, yes.
A better protocol in order to ensure this doesn't happen again.
Well, that's a great deliverance right there. Great delivery. Be assured that won't be happening. Okay. Well, be assured that won't be happening again in the future or in the next few hours or a few days. Anyway, man, so that's what you people do. And the swindle Fort Lauderdale $1.2 million. That fellow, whoever take this money, is long gone now. Anyway, let's keep on moving. Man, those people are getting hit left and right, dog. Let's keep on moving. Oh, man.
Tomorrow will mark 1 week since a little boy died after being exposed to fentanyl in a Bronx daycare. Today, a grand jury in the borough returned an indictment against 2 people for their role in the boy's death. All of these days later, investigators say they are still gathering evidence. In fact, they just released these brand new photos of a trap door they found used to hide drugs in the daycare. With more in this story.
Oh, that's messed up right there. That's messed up. You guys were using this daycare as a drug ring. That's like the worst idea. It never went through your head like saying, what if one of those kids find this thing? Or what if one of those bags bust and the dust hit those kids, then they die? This is crazy.
We go live to Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo, who is on the scene with the latest. Anthony?
Well, and Sade, police say that trap door found in the floor in this daycare, which is right through these doors here beyond this crime scene tape. Police say the trap door in the play area directly beneath the play mats where children would take nap time. And today, cops finding more fentanyl, more illicit narcotics, and drug paraphernalia.
Oof.
Crime scene investigators back at the scene today, evidence bags in their hands as they comb the Bronx building that apparently served as a child care center by day and drug mill by night.
I may not have given birth to them. I may not have been the parent that sent them to that daycare center, but every single person in this county feels what those parents feel, that they entrusted that daycare center to take care of their children.
Bronx District Attorney Darcel Clark today vowing to get justice as a memorial grows outside. Sources say the latest search warrant executed on Morris Avenue revealing a trap door typical to a drug operation in the floor of the Divino Nino daycare being run out of an apartment. The search for hidden drugs continuing just days after the daycare owner and her cousin-in-law were hit with federal drug possession charges. Today, a grand jury in the Bronx indicting Bray Mendez and Carlisto Acevedo Brito. He was allegedly renting a room at the home daycare where lethal drugs were being stashed. Parents only growing more outraged.
The city has to intervene in these daycares, have more presence in it and have more regulations.
Authorities say Mendez's husband, who allegedly fled the daycare with bags in his hand as children were suffering from fentanyl poisoning, is still on the run from the feds.
Why would you want to help somebody that murdered a baby in a daycare center?
The Bronx's top prosecutor with a strong message for the suspected co-conspirator and whoever may be hiding him.
And he needs to turn himself in because we are going to find him as well.
Again, beloved,
investigators continue to comb the daycare here for evidence. Meanwhile, the daycare owner and her cousin-in-law remain in federal custody. That indictment returned by that Bronx grand jury today, that will be unsealed in the coming days during an arraignment. Bronx DA Clark says that her prosecution will focus largely on the murder of that one-year-old boy and the attempted murder of 3 other children.
Again, beloved, when you see those things happen and a lot of those people, let me see, let me put it right now. All right, let's put it right here. Okay, where was it? Right there. Trying to look for that woman that they arrested. Where is it? Is it right here? Why is it so hard to find this thing? There we go.
In-law were hit.
Now, beloved, then again, a lot of those folks, when it's something positive, when they were making that much money, you never heard anything about them. They never speak for our community. They never even identify as us. But like when things like that happen, and you will see people will send you email like, Big Liver, we need to pray for her and her husband because they were just trying to make a living, selling drugs with a bunch of kids there, and then the kids finding this thing, they are children. I keep telling people now, you have no idea how smart kids are, especially these kids nowadays, because we assume they are little kids, they are little children, and they don't know things like, he or she will never find out where I put this thing. He or she will never know what that is. They won't know it. And I'm going to put my gun here. My son, my daughter, my children won't know. They won't find it. Even if they find it, they won't know how to operate it. That's a big mistake right there. That's a big mistake right there, because kids are super smart. They will just grab things. You will see what they are doing. You'll be amazed. How do you know how to do this? So now when things like that happen, and then people will identify as black, people will identify, as the neighbor, for prayers and things like that. and people will hide those guys. They know that, wait a minute, man, you just murdered a little boy. You killed this kid because of that drugs that you were running in this place. It's just like those folks watching too many movies. Like, why would you run these drugs in a daycare center? Like, what is it for? What? You could have easily run this thing out of a van. You could have easily run this thing in traffic and motorcycles and again, I'm not advertising anything, but and scooters and stuff like that, because traffic is a big deal. Instacart, Uber, Lyft, and postcard, all those things. You could have run it in things that, you know, that is mobile, drones. But you run it in the daycare, man. But anyway, so hey, I guess the plagues keep going on, right? Keep on going.
To ground zero. This.
Okay, that's pretty much that's the same thing, but this is the Al Jazeera. They give a better explanation.
Back to ground zero. This family is gathering what remains of a life destroyed by the September 10th floods in Darna. They lost their home, but count themselves among the lucky ones.
Our condition is better than other people. You've filmed and seen. We thank God. We don't want anything more. We're living a proper life.
I lost my uncle and cousins. No trace of them or their house. Only God knows. They only found the body of my uncle and his daughter. May their soul rest in peace.
Thousands of others remain missing. The official death toll is close to 4,000, but it's thought
Look at this, man. Yo, I mean, how could you just look at something like that? You say, well, this was planned. Look at how the cars are mingled, man. How could people look at something like this and say, well, Big Levi, this is like they done this so they can bring Jacob's trouble, or they're trying to do this, and I don't know, man, to scare us.
Exceed 10,000.
The collapse of the dam divided the city into two parts. There was a bit of difficulty in exchanging data. Initially, numbers varied between 10 and 20,000. All of these were just speculative numbers. The Public Prosecutor's Office coordinated, and now we are talking about a unified number for everyone.
Unprecedented heavy rains burst the city's two old dams, unleashing a torrent that swept away entire neighborhoods into the sea.
The Mediterranean has gained a grim reputation for claiming lives of migrants attempting to cross to Europe. The Darna tragedy has added many unidentified bodies to its waters, with some being recovered and identified.
This is where identification happens. The body responsible for the search and identification of missing persons is operating several mobile labs. Families report their missing loved ones via phone, online or in person, and provide DNA samples for testing.
The samples taken from unidentified bodies are collected by the Department of Welfare and Forensic Medicine. The bone samples are transported and we begin working on them as it's done here. Eventually, we obtain a DNA profile for the cases, and they are compared through a matching system until it provides us with a match.
But the scale of this disaster is enormous, and it could be months before survivors know anything about the loved ones they lost. Ali Hashim, Al Jazeera, Tripoli.
Yep, so a few years ago, you guys were selling black folks in auction. The Libyan, Moroccan, they were selling black people. You know, I don't like using this term, but they were selling them. There was video on there. That was like 2011, 2012. And they were selling them for $400. You know, young men, young women, they captured. And then they were selling them in slavery. And somebody made a video of filming this thing. Let me see if I can find it. Libyan selling black people in auction. Yes, there was a slave. I'm not gonna play it, but they had a slave auction. You know. Okay, so they were selling the people over there. They were selling the so-called African over there. Okay. All right. The migrant, they were being sold as slave. All right. That's what you people did. And then now, you know, let me see, let me look at this.
Their journey won't be a bed of roses, but many of these migrants are eager to leave. Around 140 Nigerians were jetted out of Tripoli on Tuesday.
They catch me on top of the sea. Yes, I'm happy that I'm going back to my country. I survived it.
Libya's internationally backed government says it's stepping up efforts to repatriate stranded refugees. This, after a recent revelation about smugglers auctioning off migrants as slaves, has sparked international outrage. French President Emmanuel Macron, backed by Nigeria, is set to propose an Euro-African initiative to crack down on international human trafficking networks as leaders of more than 80 countries gather for an EU-Africa summit in Ivory Coast.
That's what you guys did! And then you're wondering why you can't find one of your family members, because you were selling the Mossad kids. You were selling those people. They're trying to come back to the land that is rightfully theirs because they were the original inhabitant of that land. And then you sold them around, and then this happened to you. And a lot of people are like, well, thank God I'm over there in United States, and that thing happened 200 years or 100 or whatever years ago. I didn't own any slave and stuff. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen to you. You know, there was a video that was even more graphic. They were showing those people. They were selling them for $400, $200. And there was a lady, a sister somewhere in the Lebanon, which she burned herself in front of one of those embassy. African woman burned herself in front of embassy. Let me see. No. African woman set herself on fire in front of embassy. No, that's not. Let me see. African woman set herself on fire in front of. Was it the Netherlands Dutch embassy? What that is? I don't know. Some kind of like. There was a woman. She burned herself. She killed herself as a protest because of the thing that they were selling people. I guess they remove it. But anyway, that's what you people did, and then you guys gonna sit there and act like, well, we don't know why this happened. Yes, you do know.
We're going to turn now to the very latest on the murder of a family in Romeoville. Police have tracked a suspect and a person of interest in that case to Oklahoma.
Yeah, they were involved in a car crash and then a shooting. They're both dead now. NBC5's Sandra Torres joins us live from our control center with what we know so far from police. Sandra.
JC and Michelle, as you mentioned, the suspect and person of interest are now dead, and they were found over 600 miles away on an interstate in Oklahoma. But police say they are from Streamwood, and residents in their neighborhood are in disbelief.
Seemed like a normal, nice guy to me. Never would have suspected anything.
It was a busy afternoon on Sumac Drive in Streamwood Wednesday, with police taping off this home. The man who lived there is 31-year-old Nathaniel Huey and his partner, Ermelinda Palomo. And police considered Huey a suspect and Palomo a person of interest in the murder of Zoraida Bartolome and her husband, Alberto Rolon. Their 2 sons and their family's 3 dogs were found shot to death in their Romeoville home on Sunday night. Their relatives from Puerto Rico say that they were a loving family.
Una familia que trabajaba, se dedicaba de lleno a sus hijos.
He says they were a working family that dedicated themselves fully to their kids. Huey and Palomo's vehicle was detected in Oklahoma thanks to a license plate reader. Police there chased the vehicle when it crashed and caught on fire on a highway. Officers on scene heard shots inside, and Huey was found dead with a gunshot wound. Palomo later died in a hospital.
All right, let's see right there. So there you go. Oh, there we go. Apparently something happened and they know each other, and this dude They look Christian to us. And they went over there. They killed a guy. They killed the whole family, their children, and their dogs. Okay, this was very personal. But why? He killed a guy, he killed his wife, killed the children, and the dogs. But this is very personal. I don't know, I don't want to speculate, but could it be related to that Bitcoin thing? Could it be related to that cryptocurrency that our people were like raging about this thing because they believe conspiracy theorists out there telling them somehow the elite is going to come back with a new form of money and this is going to be this, mark of the beast, the job and all that nonsense. When the truth is not in those people, the Mighty One did not give them the gift of prophecy. And the guy went over there, him and this girl, and this woman, I assume which is his wife or girlfriend, they went over there. They killed both of those people. And then they took off. So when they were chasing, and that guy, he killed himself. And they crashed. And she ended up dying on the way to the hospital or at the hospital. All four of them gone. But why? You're asking yourself why. You never have any closure. Okay, why? Why did he do this? What happened? Whoever that fellow, that guy that he did this must have done him really, really bad. What happened? But hey, people, they just kill a bunch of people for no reason. Anyway, beloved, the judgment is in the midst. There's a lot going on. Be at peace. There'll be no Jacob's trouble. And you see a lot of those so-called 2/3 are taking themselves out. And I don't know this dude. I don't know this woman. But you can see there's something strange out there. There's something in the water. And of course, we see this fellow with his course, Christian course, which is not for the so-called the Christian. The course doesn't belong to them. This is our stuff. But then again, that's what those guys do. They go around and then they swagger jack things and claim it is theirs, and then they go around and parade themselves as if they are the one that invented it. But to watch this, man, and then the guy, those two families, let me see the orders. Okay, what did they blurry the face right here? Oh no, yeah, that's guy, that guy. What those are the yeah. They killed the father, the mother, and the two sons plus the dogs, brethren. Damn, that must have been very personal right there. Yo, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna kill you, your wife, and your whole family. I'm gonna kill even the goddamn dog. That was like very personal, dog. Yo, that is super personal right here. Okay? Kill the dude, his family, and the dog. Good grief. What did they done to this guy? What happened there? What happened there? And there's another story that I was just watching. Our brother sent on to me, Brother Jay. Most likely it won't go. Okay, boy 6 to be weaned off ventilator after neighbor beat him with a bat and horrific random attack, family said. Okay, this little boy, so many, that's why I don't like doing those things. There are so many things. This little boy, this dude just, took a baseball bat and lunged at the kid and beat him until the kid can, he almost killed the kid. He beat him with a baseball bat. Why? I don't know. Okay, let's read why he did this. Okay, a 6-year-old Texas boy has been lying unconscious in a hospital after his 39-year-old neighbor allegedly broke into his home and beat him with a baseball bat. The young boy named Jeremy suffered brain swelling and multiple skull fractures after Daniel Logan attacked him with the bat on September 11 in Georgetown, Texas. Then again, the name Daniel, Judgment, the storm Daniel, the hurricane, the flood Daniel, the typhoon Daniel, and then now this boy, the guy that did this onto this kid, the kid name is Jeremiah, okay, or Jeremy. Okay, Jeremiah, you know, the Gentiles, they inherited lies from their fathers and stuff like that. And then Daniel, the judgment, he beat the kid with a baseball bat for what? Okay. Logan was arrested and charged with injury to a child and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against a family member. After he allegedly also struck his own mother. I really don't want you to read this thing. Oh boy. After he allegedly also struck his own mother with the bat, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office did not release a motive for the horrific attack, as there is still an opening investigation into the violence. Okay. Boy, alright, we don't want this thing. So this dude, he just beat the kid, almost killing the kid for what? No one knows. That's why we are watching horrific crimes are being committed, and there is no explanation. No one can just come there and say, okay, this thing happened. Okay, this is the explanation. This is why he did it. He did it because, you know, his wife divorcing him, and then somehow the kids, you know, was laughing at him. He got mad. Okay, well, that seemed to be a reasonable thing, but yo, this stuff happened. There's no explanation. No one can tell you why. They just said, hey, he beat that kid for no reason. All right. Now, India and Canada. I usually don't do politics, but anyway.
New Delhi laid down a warning on Wednesday to Indian nationals in Canada, and in particular, hundreds of thousands of students. Exercise utmost caution. The advisory marks another sign of unraveling ties between the two countries in an escalating dispute over the murder of a Sikh separatist leader. Ottawa insists Canada is safe. The travel advisory follows an earlier tit-for-tat expelling of diplomats.
A Canadian citizen on Canadian soil.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said Canada is investigating credible allegations that Indian government agents were involved in the June murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India categorically rejects the assertions. It labeled Nijjar a terrorist years ago. On Wednesday, India's main opposition Congress party endorsed the government's position.
We're seeing a tit-for-tat on both sides.
Its leader, Shashi Tharoor, says Canada's going public has put the country's relationship in jeopardy.
I think it's unfortunate that Canada chose such a public route. Going public, making a statement in Parliament and so on was very unfortunate.
Meanwhile, in Punjab's holy city of Amritsar, some Sikhs called for clarity on the issue and calm. For a solution, they need to sit and talk. Basically, that's the only way, said this retired businessman. Protests unfolded among Sikhs in neighboring Pakistan, with protesters calling for India to be held to account.
We want justice!
The White House says it's deeply concerned about the allegations and is encouraging India to cooperate in any investigation. There's not much support left for the insurgency in India, but small groups of Sikhs in Australia, Britain, Canada, and the US still support the separatist demand. New Delhi has long urged Canada to act against it. As for the killing, Canadian officials have not elaborated on why they think India is involved.
All right, so yeah, bunch of stuff going on between countries and countries, killing some dudes you never heard of, and we don't know who the hell this dude is. Somehow it was some separatist, terrorist, and accusation, a bunch of nonsense, and let's keep on moving. I have no idea what to say here because I don't know what happened.
Have now learned that an off off-duty Arlington police officer who was killed in an early morning motorcycle crash. This happened just after 6 a.m. on I-20 between St. Augustine and Dowdy Ferry Road in southern Dallas. That Arlington police officer was riding his police motorcycle at the time of the crash when this happened. Now, his name has not been released yet. This is a developing story. We have a crew there gathering details. We will keep you updated throughout the day. But again, the westbound lanes of I-20 near this crash site have been closed nearly 2 hours. This is going to be a long cleanup process. And I mean, just with the severity of this and it being an Arlington police officer, you know that this is really tough for those working this accident right now.
Indeed it is. And we actually, we are still working on getting the press conference that is going on right now in. And what I wanted to do is add another layer to this situation on I-20 and the fatal incident. This, again, just now coming in from the officer that is the spokesperson on the scene of this crash. Very important information. Please listen closely.
So the biggest thing, we're wanting to make sure people that were out in this area that this morning, especially if they got any dash cam video or anything like that, or saw anything of that car, we need to talk to them.
It was a dark-colored Dodge car.
Dodge or Chrysler type car.
We believe that car realized he hit something at this point.
I don't. I mean, traffic was slowing down for some reason. Right.
So again, just trying to clarify what that is that this is potentially a hit and run situation, and they are looking for a Dodge Chrysler. And again, at this point, the highway is going to continue to stay closed, so please, again, avoid that area. But I just wanted to add that layer of information as we continue to gather more information, and we will be hearing from Hannah live on the scene from Baylor Medical, where that officer was taken after the incident occurred.
Now, as you can see, beloved, this guy got run over by a bunch of kids, a bunch of men that was in the car. They ran him over. This dude, somehow, he got run over on his bike, motorcycle, and those guys are chief of police, police officers, and they are catching hell. A lot's going on, man. Because those guys, or the dude is 64. Could it be possible those guys 10 years ago, before he was retired, could wear black faces and go to Chicago and cause all those shootings, all those drive-bys? You don't hear about those drive-bys anymore in Chicago for a long time now. You don't hear those drive-bys. Ever since 2020, you don't hear them the way that they used to be all over the news. Drive-by, Chicago, Chicago. You don't hear Chicago in the news like that. At least I don't. Could it be possible those chief of police or those guys that keep dying like that for no apparent reason? Could it be possible they've done dirt in the back? They've done dirt in the background, we don't know. And then when those things happen, and then they come out like, oh, well, it happened here, and he's no more. What happened? What did he do? Well, we don't know. But when you dig in the background, you find out that, wait a minute, those dudes used to do horrible things to our people. And now they are no longer here. Okay, the plague is heavy upon 83, man. Let's keep on moving.
Group, but now police are calling their group a criminal street gang, charging them with gang activity on top of felony murder.
And all new tonight, we are hearing from a cult expert who says all of this matches a pattern. Here's the 11 Alive's John Sherrick.
So far, the 6 murder suspects have not had a chance to tell their story publicly. But from what police have said so far, they call themselves soldiers of Christ.
Sadly, John, I hear about this constantly.
Rick Allen Ross follows cults worldwide. He's the author of Cults Inside Out.
And there are often these kind of tragic circumstances.
Tragic. According to police, earlier this summer.
Now, this is an expert. I want to hear what this dude is saying. Okay, and then I want to hear it. All right, so let's go to the beginning and see what's happening here, because we brought this story before. Okay, let's hear it again.
First tonight at 11, new details as police add more charges against the suspects accused of beating, starving, and killing a woman in the basement of a Gwinnett County home. The suspects claim they are a religious group, but now police are calling their group a criminal street gang, charging them with gang activity on top of felony murder.
And all new tonight, we are hearing from a cult expert who says all of this matches a pattern. Here's 11 Alive's John Sherrick.
So far, the 6 murder suspects have not had a chance to tell their story publicly. But from what police have said so far, they call themselves soldiers of Christ.
Sadly, John, I hear about this constantly.
Rick Allen Ross follows cults worldwide. He's the author of Cults Inside Out.
And there are often these kind of tragic circumstances.
Tragic. According to police, earlier this summer, a woman left her home in South Korea, ending up at this home in Gwinnett County, halfway around the world. She thought she was joining a religious organization. Police say the 5 adults in their 20s and one 15-year-old so-called soldiers of Christ imprisoned her, beat her, withheld food from her, and she died. When police discovered her body this week in the trunk of a car, she weighed 70 pounds.
Oh.
Ross says that's all how cults often work.
No one intentionally joins a destructive cult. So
70 pounds, you know, and the hell is going on over there, man? It's just a lot of things. Anyway, let's keep on moving.
There is this element of deception, a kind of bait and switch con.
Yes.
And then only when they become involved more deeply in the
and
group,
then they start seeing
is it revealed to them in increments what they're really getting involved with.
Ross seeing this again and again.
There have been many deaths tied to destructive cults, starvation deaths, deaths due to extreme living conditions, beatings, medical neglect.
Police saying that for now they believe they've arrested everyone involved in the woman's mistreatment and death. In Atlanta, John Sherrick, 11 Alive News.
Yeah, so the soldier of Christ. Well, this is what you believe and you drain onto. And if those people did indeed went somewhat public, a lot of our people would have drained onto them. Our people will say, Big Levi, we need to tell the people about like those are the true, they are baptized. So, you know, they are the true soldier of Christ. Let's go over there and live with them in Atlanta in that house. And then they will have just go over there and move in that place and go with those people and try to be with them and then go under this because they say they are the soldier of Christ. And a lot of them will die like that. You know, so anyway, man, the Mighty One is putting all the fakes out there, bringing them right in front of you. And that's what it is. They just get this woman, starve her to death, and kill her. Because she put her faith in them and thinking like they are the true soldiers of Christ, which Christ just means the chosen or the anointed one. Anyway, let's keep on moving. How long we are into this thing? Oh, good grief. All right, let's finish this thing right quick.
He faces a brand new charge tonight. Police allege Cleveland Brody knew his positive status since 2006, but did not disclose it to sexual partners. It has been the subject of an Atlanta First investigation.
Sierra Cummings joins us tonight from Rockdale County Sheriff's Office with these new allegations.
Yeah, I first reported back in July. Investigators named 2 victims in this case. One even died after having untreated, undiagnosed HIV for so long. As of today, new warrants filed say a 3rd victim has come forward claiming the suspect did the exact same thing to her. Here's what we know.
Prosecutors say Cleveland Brody's, quote, reckless conduct caused the death of his wife, Denise, in April 2022. Medical records show, based on her blood work, Denise had undiagnosed and untreated HIV for at least 5 years.
She's supposed to be here right now.
As a result, in July, deputies arrested the 62-year-old suspect for felony reckless conduct, HIV-infected person. A judge denied Brody bond,
Finding you a risk of flight.
Shortly after, police filed a second charge, saying a woman came forward claiming Brody also had unprotected sex with her multiple times this year without disclosing his positive status. Rockdale County detectives suggested at the time this could be a part of a pattern. Then Tuesday, September 5th, they issued a 3rd charge. Warrants detail the suspect consciously disregarded unjustifiable risk by having sexual encounters with the woman as recently as March. All 3 charges are felony reckless conduct. If convicted, the maximum is 5 years per count.
You have to do some due diligence.
However, the district attorney's office argued in court they do intend to seek murder charges on behalf of Denise.
We could still have our mother here with us today if he had just gave her that one courtesy, just to tell her that, you know, to test herself for it, and that could be it, and she could have gotten treatment. Nobody's dying from HIV and AIDS today. It's not a death sentence.
Okay, so the reason why I bought this thing, I personally, I know somebody that is very close to me and family members. Okay, I could call her a family member that passed away recently in 2020. Yes, 2020. Yeah, in 2020 from HIV/AIDS, and she got it from the man that she was married man. Okay, I believe he was a pastor, or was it? I'm not quite sure, but I'll refrain from that. And she got it from this married guy, and he didn't tell her he was married. He told her he was single and all that until she gave up the cookie. Find out that not only he was married, but he was HIV/AIDS positive. And when she found out about this years ago, she literally went crazy, like literally insane. She spent at least a year or two in her bed, defecating, peeing, don't eat and stuff, and then she lost her mind until she literally died. And this type of thing, I'm just saying this as a warning to all people out there. Again, this type of thing happen. A lot of folks that look like us, and they have certain mindset. Okay, they will purposely infected you as a form of, I ain't gonna go down by myself. I ain't gonna go down alone. I ain't gonna go down. Yeah, misery love company. Okay, some people do this out of spite, and they just hate you, or they beefing with their wives or their husband, and they just go out there and they just spread this thing for no reason. I talk about this many times. There are some videos we had made a couple of years ago. Where down there in Florida, there was this young woman spreading this thing on purpose, and there's still one young girl on my Facebook back then in 2008, 2009. She's still a beautiful young woman, and I don't know if she's still alive. She was giving that cookie all over the town. Everybody was getting some, and we were young. I was in college. And the Negroes, the dudes that were with me say, hey, Levi, man, you know, the bakery is open 24/7. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not interested in dumpster cookie, man, and all this nonsense going on out there. I had he wasn't a friend, he was a dude that we know, we used to converse together. This guy is paranoid, man, when it comes to STDs, man. This dude, we actually discover the damage that this thing was doing around the young folks that were our ages. We were 17. We were 17, 18 back then. And we found out the damage, and the dude become traumatized, man. The guy, he doesn't want to go nowhere near people. He doesn't want to talk to people. He doesn't want to touch them. And then that guy, he ramble about the whole thing, because we truly find out the excessive amount of STDs that was going on. And it wasn't like something light. Well, there's no light thing. Like I'll say like something like gonorrhea and chlamydia, something you can cure. No, those were things you could not get rid of. HIV, AIDS, herpes, and a bunch of things that they were passing on purpose. Not like, oh, I didn't know and then I caught it, but no, they know that, and they were passing these things, and there was an insane amount of syphilis that was going on around, people doing this on purpose. And I can remember Dr. Umar back then in 2009 made a video that how ridiculous it was to college ages black folks were spreading this thing, and on purpose. It's not something that they do. I don't know what it is, but it was something that they do out of spite to literally mock another person or to come with revenge. So this woman died because of this dude, a husband, You know, I'm assuming she's a Christian. She got this course and stuff like that. I'm assuming she thought her husband was faithful, and this dude went out there and did this thing. Now, I remember 4 years ago, this thing happened. Okay, all right. This woman, this thing happened 4 years ago. All right, that was back in 2019, I believe.
Facebook, bragging about infecting her sexual partners with HIV. She even mentioned these partners on Facebook by name.
And this video really has sent shockwaves throughout the city of Americus in southwest Georgia, and now it's gone viral as well. 11 Alive's Latasha Giffens joins us, and there are so many people concerned trying to understand, A, what this is all about, and B, if she is a credible figure throughout all of this.
That's right. This is alarming, not just for her community, but for those around the state, especially when you consider the CDC has Georgia listed in the top 5 for states with the highest number of HIV infections.
I am HIV positive.
In this 1 minute and 20-second video, Brandy Yakima Lassiter of Americus, Georgia, not only states that she has HIV, but she goes on to list the men she believes she infected on purpose.
You HIV positive?
She even includes their wives and girlfriends who now may also be affected. Lassiter goes on bragging about revenge and wanting to watch them suffer.
I always get the last. Now I'm watching our die. I get real nasty and evil.
We talked to Major Herman Lamar with the
Americas. So let me see when that was 2019, right? Let me see. Yes, 2019 when this thing happened, August 6, 2019. So a lot of those folks, brethren, okay, they are doing this because out of spite, they just hate people. And then they just so mad that they caught this thing, and then they go around and infected people on purpose. Now, I don't know if this woman, I never checked if it was real, if it was like she was doing this to scare the guy. Let me see, I didn't read the comment. Let me see. Let me check the newest comment. Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, I believe she was indeed HIV positive. I don't know. So, excuse me. Now, the reason why I bought this, beloved, I want the nation to be aware. A lot of skin folk out there, they despise your guts. And I know a lot of our men and our women, you have needs. Yes, you have urges. Yes, they are normal. Yes, but what is not normal is to do this unto people on purpose or to get involved with things. Beloved, I am not here to telling you where you should shove your wing or what you should shove inside of your portal or inside of your oven. This is up to you, but I advise caution, man. Also advise caution. And I'm doing a lot of research concerning STDs because now they want to call it STI. Why? Because there's a lot of folks now that are predominantly involved with this thing or getting infected with this thing, and they don't want to stigmatize it or whatever the word they're in. And they don't want you to talk about it like that, you know. Oh, okay, well, talk about it that it is normal. We need to make this thing cool again. No, we can't make this thing cool, man. When our people were infected with this thing, it wasn't cool. But nonetheless, a lot of people are doing this, beloved, out there. If you see this sister, so to speak, well, I'll call them sister. If you see those sister give this thing too quick, and when you offer, you're like, hey, man, I gotta bring up my shield, man, and then protect myself. They're like, nah, I'm clean. Run for your life. The same thing goes for you, sisters out there. You know, this dude coming in and want to get down, and he doesn't want to wear stuff. Run for your life. Run for your life, man, because there are people out there that are unknowingly, beloved. They have no care. Infected people with this thing, man. You know, infected people, man. And till this day, I still remember that dude who used to talk. The dude was paranoid with the whole thing. It's just when I'm doing research, I find out so many young women, so many young men are catching things they can't get rid of because they trust somebody. Okay, they trust someone they just met at a party online, or just somebody they just met, and then they get down because it's cool to do that. And then they cut up something that is horrible to get rid of, man. You know, and just that's why I bought this thing. And it happened all the time, beloved. Okay, just be careful out there because people are evil, man. They just knowingly go out there and infected people. And it happened multiple times. There was one over there in West Palm. One of those girls, she was going around. She was a Haitian girl, sleeping with men, passing this thing. Apparently, she caught it up to a man that did not tell her. And she got mad, and she go around, you know, give that thing for free, and infected all those men. As a police officer, he was infected people with this. I believe a few years ago, brother Tariq Nasheed made a video about one of those white men DJ that used to go to a club acting like he was black and sleeping with a bunch of black women and purposely infected all of them with HIV/AIDS. There are people that do this purposely. You know, yo, I live in South Florida, man. Spring break here is a big deal. If you didn't know this, spring break here is a big freaking deal. And you got all those young women, all those college kids come down there. They want drugs, okay? They want sex, you know, and then they will get down and do things. And then, you know, they got all sort of disease, man. All sort of things. Young people, man. You know, young girls, young boys, they got all sort of disease. So you got to be very careful with that, man. This is not the time, beloved, to go out there and get involved with this nonsense because this is going to be bad, all right? Oh, boy. All right. I think we pretty much almost done here. Let's just close with this. Keep on going. All right. Oh, yeah, that was the shooting out of Walmart. And I believe, let me see where the police officers came in. There was two people. They know each other, and they just literally they killed the guy. I think it was right here.
Notified. We're working on notifying the second one. What I can tell you is what it appears to be is a known to known shooting event where both parties knew one another. This was not an active shooter. This was one person knew another person. There was some kind of former relationship. Those details will be released a little bit later. It's premature for me to give you all of that information now, but we're working it tonight and tomorrow. As you can see around you, we've been moving vehicles out, processing the crime scene, and we will have more information for everybody tomorrow morning.
Were they male and female?
Okay, so we had one female and one male victim.
Boyfriend, girlfriend?
I'm not going to release their relationship status right now because...
Was the female pregnant?
I don't know.
Were they young adults, teenagers?
They were both younger people.
And can you talk about just for Hiram being inside a Walmart full of people, just kind of the magnitude of something like this, even though it wasn't an active shooter?
Yeah,
still.
I mean, you can imagine in there shopping, you know, picking up stuff for your family when shots ring out. I mean, not only for the victim herself, but for the other people in there, the fear that had to be, you know, instilled by this type of event. It is very unusual for us. We have not had an incident like.
So anyway, it seems like it was 988. So let me see if they have. It happened like 21 hours ago. Let's see if they have an update on it. ATL Friends Group form adults friendship amid national loneliness epidemic. No, that's not what that is. Where is it? There you go. I think that's the one. Let's watch this. What happened?
5 odd and bad vibes. That's how those who worked with a woman killed inside a Hiram Walmart describe the person investigators say shot and killed her. Hiram police say James Norton shot Zoe Messenger last night before turning the gun on himself.
Yeah, and Tracy, we have Atlanta News First Zach Summers, who is live outside the store about 25
Okay, that guy is very loud and very dramatic. That guy is super loud. I don't know why, but this guy is extremely loud. Yeah, just be careful.
County. So, Zach, this location still shut down because of what happened last night.
Yeah, only Walmart employees have been allowed in and outside the store. You see, though, customers continue to come up, but they're met by the employees who can only go in. The alleged gunman, James Norton, also an employee here. The victim, Zoe Messenger, was simply shopping after getting off work at her job across the street. Hiram Police Chief Michael Turner says Messenger and Norton ran into each other inside the store around 7 o'clock last night. They used to be in a relationship, but it's unclear why or how long ago they broke things off. Chief Turner says the two were seen on video having a conversation that appeared to be cordial when suddenly Norton shot Messenger, then turned the gun on himself. Both died at the hospital. Chief Turner says they've seen an uptick in domestic violence cases the last several weeks.
That's not domestic violence, man.
Whether this was a very opportunistic crime, although I don't think
Michael
targeted,
Turner.
I think it happened because two people ended up at the same place at the same time, and one with, whatever issues that caused this to happen. But what we're trying to do now is restabilize the community.
The last homicide in Hiram was nearly 6 years ago. Chief Turner says there's no record of previous incidents involving Norton or Messenger. A former boss of the 20-year-old called her a sweetheart and said she was a dedicated worker.
She's 20 years old.
Atlanta News First.
And that's the thing. And when you look at those young people, 20 years old, man. Is that why is she walking there for 20 years, or she's 20 years old? But anyway, those things, they have no explanation. They cannot explain it. This dude walk up onto her, hey baby, we used to do this thing together, and then now you're leaving me and stuff. Okay, goodbye. He shot and killed her, and he shot and killed himself. That's all. That's what's going on.
Plow a stolen car into an unsuspecting bicyclist in Las Vegas, killing him. Now that victim has been identified as the former police chief.
Oh, okay, all right, we watched this before.
Holding a baby.
There you go. This probably one of my okay, this is like one of those. This supposed to be a two-third behavior. This was the two-thirds used to do things like that, and you see how the plague and the curses just switch. Watch this, man. Crazy.
It's a crazy scene outside a bar. The time, 1 a.m. The place, Daytona Beach.
Hey, quit filming my baby.
Watch as a woman wearing a thong bikini is seen on surveillance tape holding a baby and taking a swing at a woman recording her on a cell phone. Her friend, also in a skimpy bikini, steps in front and attempts to block the crowd.
Okay, 1 a.m. in the morning at the bar with the baby in your hand, smashing that baby head on this, and she's 19 years old, 20 years old. This is beautiful. I'm very glad. I'm not gonna say, well, I'm very glad I grew up in this generation. I'm very glad that I'm alive and see this kind of nonsense. See this kind of nonsense going on around me. 1 a.m. in the morning at the bar with the baby in your hand, tossing. They were throwing the baby like football. And then one person was trying to prevent this, and then there you go.
So what triggered the argument? Police say the witness was trying to videotape a truly disturbing incident in which the two women dressed in thong bikinis were seen tossing a baby like a football.
She was tossing the baby in the air, and it was aggressive, and it was pretty scary. What can you do? You can't physically take the baby. You might harm it even more.
One woman was reportedly seen holding the baby upside down by the ankle. It happened outside the Coyote Ugly bar. One woman even
Coyote Ugly bar. Crazy. This used to be a two-third behavior. You used to see how people that look like us going around do this type of nonsense. 1 a.m. in the morning, tossing baby like football at a bar, and then fighting people, and this woman coming over there and offer to give the baby.
Offered to hold on to the baby. When cops got there, she explains what is going on.
You're tossing this baby infant child around
And flipping it upside down.
Store owner Sean Knapp says his security cameras next door captured the action.
It almost looks like the poor child's head hits the rail.
He did.
It tears your heart apart.
Police said the little boy may have suffered a broken arm. Brianna LaFoe, 19, and Sierra Newell, 20, have been charged with...
Okay, I don't know why they keep doing. I can get rid of this stuff. There we go. Right there. That's better. Right here. Why is it?
Battery.
Both women have now been released from custody.
Have been charged with child abuse. Brianna LaFoe, 19.
I can't get rid of this thing. But anyway, there we go. 19 and 20. Those are their ages, and you can see the faces, the things over here. There are signs of meth and drugs. You know, that's the generation of those of the 83. Young kids having kids, going around drinking, tossing this kid like a baby, like a football, and then do all sort of things. Okay. Oh man. The curse is fully reversed on those people, man. Let me see. Yeah, I'll close with that. I'll close with this one over there. The flow that's in. Yeah, that's what's going on, man. Now, when you look at this stuff, you're like, yo, this used to be a 2/3, and now you see the people that's supposed to be 2/3 are putting an end onto this. All right.
But they're not. Well, this next story, tough. Community members gathered at a rally last night to protest the Seattle Police Department after that body camera footage showed an officer laughing and making jokes about a woman killed by a speeding patrol car back in January.
All right, we don't care about this. We already made a video.
Good evening, everyone. The scene behind me is one that nightmares are made of, and that is extremely heartbreaking. So let me try to describe how we got to this point to now. A little after 4 p.m., our communications center starts receiving several 911 emergency calls here in the Summerfield subdivision in the Riverview area. One of the first ones we received was from a neighbor who said that there was a male who fled his house and he'd been shot several times. At the same time, we received a 911 call that there was a young black male who was running through the subdivision waving a firearm, and at one point even putting the firearm up to his head. Deputies immediately respond on scene. They come into contact with this young male and immediately begin to de-escalate the situation. When I tell you that these deputies de-escalated this situation over a 16-minute negotiation, their de-escalation was textbook. Absolutely set the example on how de-escalation should exist. They were calm, they were collective, there was no yelling, and they established a rapport with with this young male who at least 6 times continued to put the firearm to his head, threatening to commit suicide. Now, when he put the firearm to his head, at the same time as he changed his mind, he would lower the firearm. You see what I just did there as he's pointing the firearm. When I talk about these deputies and the extreme restraint that they used, they had the intuition to know that this young male wasn't trying to threaten them with the firearm or trying to shoot them. He was simply threatening suicide. So they continued to slow things down. At one point, they become successful. He places the firearm on the ground. Not too long.
All right, this is what happened. This guy, this kid, he killed his mother and shot the boyfriend in the face. There was an argument. The mother was arguing with the boyfriend or something like that. He came in and then he took a gun. He shot the mother and killed her, and shot the dude in the face and then fled. And so what's going on down there? Is that in Florida? Yes, Florida. So yes, beloved, that's what happened. I will leave you with peace. I will leave you with love. Say great glory to the Mighty One. Have a safe Days of Atonement this Saturday. A lot of us going to celebrate that. Selah.